The third season of Squid Games has ended and all the characters we loved and didn't love have died. And only a newborn baby whose future raises many questions, and an organization that will continue these games on the other side of the planet, survived. To be honest, I didn't expect the series to end in the third season, and I knew that the organization was not in danger, because the series has such a large audience that it is difficult for Netflix to refuse such a large income and close the project. This is not the topic of our video today, let's leave it for the next video, but until then I'm going to rank every major character death in Season 3, from the least impactful to the most devastating, and share my personal reactions to each one. Number 7. Nam-gyu's death. Starting off the list is Nam-gyu, the primary antagonist among the players this season. To be honest, I felt more relief than sadness at his demise. Nam-gyu meets his end in the 5th game, and it isn't exactly a surprise when, by that point, he was injured and the odds were stacked against him. This character was cruel and manipulative throughout, very much like Jung Deok-soo. When he finally went down, it felt like justice. My reaction was basically a satisfied sigh. He had it coming. While his death was definitely brutal, it didn't tug at my heartstrings the way the others did. Instead, it wrapped up his arc fittingly, removing a dangerous player from the board. In a season full of tragedy, Nam-gyu's death was that one moment where I actually wanted to cheer. Number 6. Young-sik's death. Next is Young-sik, a character whose death set off a chain of emotional devastation. Young-sik dies during the 4th game, and the impact of his death is seen immediately through his mother, Gyum-ja. Yes, mother. Season 3 gave us a heart-wrenching mother-son duo in the games. Young-sik's elimination was one of the most heartbreaking sights. As soon as he falls, we witness Gyum-ja collapse in agony, begging the organizers to stop the games. Watching a parent see their child die right in front of them is something I was not prepared for. My reaction was sheer heartbreak. Young-sik himself may not have been as prominently developed as some other players, but the context of his death made it especially tragic. It's the kind of moment that reminds you just how cruel these games are. Even family bonds are mercilessly shattered. Seeing Gyum-ja's grief in that moment absolutely broke me, making Young-sik's fate stand out as one of the season's saddest turning points. Number 5. Daeho's death. Coming in at number 5 is Daeho. If you've seen the season, you know Daeho as the tough former Marine who had a lot more depth than his stoic exterior suggested. That's why the way he died felt so unfair. Daeho's death happens later in the competition, and it is marked by a sense of injustice. He is essentially hunted down and killed for something that wasn't even his fault. Without getting into heavy spoilers for the exact circumstance, let's just say Daeho ends up a target not due to anything he did wrong, but due to others' schemes. I remember feeling angry and sad at the same time when it happened. He didn't deserve to go out like that. One moment he's trying to do the right thing, and the next he's gone. It left me stunned. Daeho may not have been as universally beloved as some characters ranked higher on this list, but his undeserved end really got under my skin. It highlighted the cruel irony that in Squid Game, even the good people sometimes meet terrible ends for reasons beyond their control. Number 4. Gyum-ja's death. At number 4 is Gyum-ja, a character who embodies the heartache of Season 3. Gyum-ja had one of the most gut-wrenching storylines. A mother in the death games doing everything to protect her son, Young-sik, until she couldn't. After losing Young-sik in Game 4, Gyum-ja is absolutely shattered. In the aftermath, she completely breaks down, pleading with the organizers to terminate the competition out of despair. It's a plea that unfortunately goes unanswered. In fact, her emotional outburst becomes the very reason for her demise. Gyum-ja dies between games, not even during a contest, which somehow makes it feel even more cruel. One moment she's a grieving mother crying out for compassion, and the next she's silenced forever. My reaction was pure sorrow and disbelief. I had to pause after that scene. It was that overwhelming. To make it even more heartbreaking, we see Jun-hee react in horror to Gyum-ja's death since the two had grown close. Jun-hee's reaction, screaming and crying as Gyum-ja lies lifeless, was devastating to witness. In a season full of brutal moments, Gyum-ja's tragic end stands out as one of the most emotionally harrowing. Number 3. Gi-hun's death. Now this is a big one. Gi-hun, our main protagonist from Season 1, returns in Season 3 only to meet a shocking end in the finale. Ranking Gi-hun's death was tricky for me. In terms of shock value, it's off the charts. Seeing the hero of the series get killed hit me hard. Gi-hun essentially sacrifices himself in the final confrontation in a last-ditch effort to do one good thing. In fact, he gives up his life to save an innocent baby during the final game, in front of all the VIP spectators. It's a powerful moment. Through Gi-hun's ultimate selflessness, he tries to show those twisted VIPs that not everyone is driven purely by self-interest and survival. I felt a swell of pride in Gi-hun at that moment, because he stayed true to his humanity. But The aftermath of his sacrifice left me frustrated and heartbroken. Why? Because ultimately it felt like his death was in vain. The cruel reality is that even after Gi-hun dies, the games do not stop. The season ends with the horrifying implication that the deadly competition will continue. So Gi-hun's courageous act, as meaningful as it was, doesn't immediately change the system. I remember literally saying out loud, "No. After everything he went through, it can't end like this." I was angry at the VIPs, at the frontman, at the show itself for killing off my favorite character in such a bleak way. Part of me even thought back to the end of Season 1, wishing Gi-hun had just gotten on that plane and never looked back, sparing himself this fate. Gi-hun's death ranks high not just because of who he was, but because of the complex emotions it elicited: admiration for his sacrifice and anguish at the apparent futility of it. As a longtime fan, seeing the story's original hero fall was a hard pill to swallow, one that left me rattled long after the credits rolled. Number 2, Jun-hee's death. In second place is the death that I have perhaps the most disturbing in all of Season 3, Jun-hee. Jun-hee's final moments are nothing short of traumatic. She is a player who showed incredible determination and compassion throughout the games, all while hiding a critical secret. Jun-hee was pregnant during the competition. Unbelievably, she makes it through the 5th game despite her condition. Jun-hee goes into labor. The scene that follows is one of the darkest and most gut-wrenching things Squid Game has ever shown. Jun-hee gives birth amidst the chaos, bringing a fragile new life into this nightmarish world. Jun-hee doesn't survive long after her baby is delivered. In the next game, where she has to jump over a metal rope and cross a bridge, her broken leg makes it impossible to complete the game. So she decides to jump from that height herself. And the show does not shy away from the tragedy. They actually linger on Jun-hee's lifeless body in a harrowing visual. I'm talking eyes open, blood on the ground. It was beyond shocking. It felt like a new low. Even for a show as dark as Squid Game, my immediate reaction was grief. I kept thinking, she went through all of that only for this? It's an incredibly cruel fate. The way the scene was shot was so graphic that it clearly made a lot of viewers uncomfortable, myself included. In fact, I almost wish they hadn't shown some of those details. It felt gratuitous and deeply upsetting. Jun-hee's death is ranked number 2 on my list because of how profoundly it affected me emotionally. It wasn't just that I liked her character, it was the sheer horror and sorrow of the situation. It's a scene I won't forget for a long time, and frankly, one I'm not eager to rewatch. The only small solace is knowing that her baby survived, and Gi-hun's last act was ensuring that child had a chance to live. But overall, Jun-hee's death stands as one of the most tragic moments in Squid Game history. Number 1, Hyun-ju's death. Finally, we've arrived at the most heartbreaking death of Season 3, Hyun-ju. If you've been following the series, you might have guessed this would take the top spot. Hyun-ju was the standout new character of Season 2 who carried over into Season 3, a fan favorite in every sense. She was courageous, compassionate, and fiercely loyal to her allies. Hyun-ju was also notably the first openly transgender contestant in Squid Game, a detail that made her character even more groundbreaking and important. I can't overstate this. I adored Hyun-ju, and so did many others. That's why her death completely broke me. Hyun-ju doesn't even get to die in the final game. Her life is cut short earlier in a brutal way. In a literal and figurative backstab, she was killed by the man whose child she so bravely and fearlessly protected from other players. It was the ultimate act of treachery. The moment it happened, I was in absolute disbelief. Hyun-ju had been the heart of the group, the one I truly believed deserved to make it to the end. She had sacrificed so much to help others survive, and in return she got a knife in the back. It felt so unfair, so wrong. I was practically praying she wouldn't die up until the very last second. I kept hoping there was some twist or that maybe it wasn't fatal, but no. Hyun-ju was gone, just like that. This death hit me even harder than many of the tragic losses in Season 1. Her character had so much depth and potential, and to see it extinguished so early in the season was devastating. In fact, I'll admit that after Hyun-ju's death, my emotional investment in the show took a hit. It was that impactful. I wasn't alone in feeling this way. Hyun-ju's loss was the moment the season lost its heart for a lot of us. The remaining episodes were still intense, but without Hyun-ju's presence, something was missing. In terms of emotional impact, no other Season 3 death comes close for me. Hyun-ju's demise combined shock, sorrow, and even a bit of anger. It left me grieving a fictional character for days. That's why Hyun-ju's death is my number 1. It wasn't just a plot point, it was an emotional wrecking ball. This is the death I'll remember whenever I think of Season 3, and it's the one that truly embodies the ruthless tragedy that Squid Game can deliver. That's all for today. If you like my rankings, please hit that like button below the video and write in the comments what is on your rankings. Also, please subscribe to the channel so you do not miss the upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.